is there any intention on the part of the department, the government, or anybody to pursue the defective concrete block suppliers?
Yeah.
And the last point is, I mean, are there many cases that could be pursued? I mean, obviously, have you any idea of the numbers in Clare, for example, who have found their houses are now defective, who could have a claim that they could pursue, or are the majority of cases, for one reason or another, not legally pursuable?
Well, I suppose the exact statistics from the 90 that have been surveyed, we're looking at about 68% that have identified the supplier, CRH, Rosedump and Ratty, or Ryan's Tuna, you know, and how they've identified that is through receipts, through direct purchase, through clerks, through even connections, you know. So those that are unknown are usually second and first, you know, second home or third home purchasers, or that the builder has gone out of business, is deceased, that they cannot identify, or it's a development on a housing estate that they would have no access to knowing where the blocks came from. But I suppose the bigger issue really seems to be, and again this is an observation over the last 2 years, is that very few solicitors are prepared to take on the scale of the biggest and the power and might of the biggest company in this country, which is our supplier. And I think that is the responsibility of the state to address that. Did
you get any indication that there was an intention to actually pursue the manufacturers of or the suppliers of the concrete blocks?
So maybe just first things first, the first time that we saw anything to do with this was last Tuesday. Okay. Whenever we saw the general scheme being presented. It took us by surprise. Obviously, we had a 61-page document to go through. It was Thursday of last week before we got all our issues discovered and raised and tabled. So this is very recent. We're only dealing with less than a week. It's quite a complex issue when it becomes legal, and we have sought legal advice on it, and we're still waiting on that legal advice back. All that we have been led to believe so far is that at a high level, this is something that will be there to put the frighteners on people actually going chasing any claim from anybody. And I think that part is, sorry to see. The other thing I would say with regard to chasing, the perpetrators of this, there has been always talk about it, but it had never found its way onto anything in black and white that we have seen, or certainly if it has never been pursued with any vigour. But it's interesting to see in the document that the homeowner, again, is the easiest port of call, and the homeowner seems to be the target as opposed to the quarries that allowed it, or opposed to the authorities, the local authorities, and their failure to regulate the standards that would have avoided this disaster in the first place. So where we are from a homeowner perspective, we feel victimised, we feel like we're the target, we're the easy target, and when it comes down to the bigger businesses that are out there, and the banks that are out there, and the insurance companies that's out there, they're not being pursued with any vigour that we can see, certainly. But in black and white, in the general scheme, there we are named again. And to go along with that, you've got language in there like jail sentences of 5 years, 50,000 euros of fines for anything that would be deemed fraudulent. The language and everything that we're seeing in here is pointing to the homeowners and how we manage these people that seem to be looking for something for nothing. When I go back to the very simple point, all we want is what we had and what we paid for.